when you turn on the TV, all we hear are reduced sound bites for retweets. People are just trying to get at each other. It's theater. We don't really hear steadfast policymaking.
How does someone detach the emotional anger from the pain they feel, the injustice that's happened to them, or they see from someone else that they care about, or they're in their community? How do they build a movement so that an idea gets passed without this emotional charge? Because you said that, you know, Congress making a decision is like an emotional feeling, but I don't think you can do it if you're just like this emotional person crying and screaming and shouting and pouting all day long. Like it's not going to get a message across.
Absolutely.
So how does someone who's been through this trauma or pain get a message across with passion, but not this crazy emotional energy?
That is perhaps one of the toughest skills we teach at Rise.
Because I see these activists online that are just screaming, and I'm like, you're not getting a message across to me. And I'm not even the person you're trying to convince here, right? It's like,
absolutely.
The people passing these laws, they're just going to block that off. They say, you're exhausting me.
That's absolutely true. So the biggest critique that we get is that we are not radical enough. And I own that criticism, right? For me, I did
radical
not...
enough passes, so you pass laws, though, without being radical.
So I did not have the political luxury of a cathartic performance. I had urgency. My rape kit had a literal timeline to be destroyed. And what that means is that every 6 months, it was counting down to this Kafkaesque game where my justice would be literally thrown in the trash. And I needed to work with anyone and everyone within the legislative process in order to pass these laws. That profoundly shaped the way that I negotiated my rights. So here's where the national security side, the diplomacy side of Homeonomics comes in. In just any relationship, even in our personal relationships, the closer that relationship is, the more it can be distorted, right? Maybe you're having an argument with your girlfriend and you yell over something so small, right? Would you have done that with a stranger, you know? In international relations, in national security, let's say we are negotiating with a dictator on nuclear disarmament. Maybe that dictator has a lot of other issues that they need to get better on. But for that moment, when you're at the table, you're only working on nuclear disarmament and you're trying to move that ball forward on that one issue, right? Being able to keep your eye on the ball and focus on that and not only detach yourself, right? You're not forgetting all the other things that you're doing, but you are putting that at the door when you walk in because you have a very specific goal and trying to make that change, right? That set of skills is really important when it comes to domestic policy, and it's often forgotten. So just like in personal relationships, when things are distorted, citizens of a country may have a sort of different relationship with the types of skills and tools and tactics that they use in demanding their rights from their senators. It doesn't mean don't demand them, right? Again, activism, organizing, both are necessary, but if you want to pass laws,
if you want to get results.
That's right. Democracy inherently requires its citizens to hash things out, right? And so when survivors at Rise or any organizer enters a room of a senator, they leave their political tribalism at the door.
What does that mean?
You know, we are in such a partisan time where when you turn on the TV, all we hear are reduced sound bites for retweets. People are just trying to get at each other. It's theater. We don't really hear steadfast policymaking. And I mean, our government can't even keep itself open. And in the meantime, people suffer, right? And so political tribalism, you know, saying I am right, my party is right, and your party is wrong, and just trying to tear each other down, that can get money for political fundraisers because you're literally rooting for your team. That's what it is. But legislation true lawmaking, and one that helps people, demands that we sit down and we sit in these uncomfortable spaces. We climb over these empathy walls and really engage with the other side. Right? That's really hard to do. That's what we train our organizers to do.